These 5 plyometric exercises develop extreme strength and endurance. Have you ever noticed that some athletes seem to have springs hidden in their legs? The secret has a name: plyometric exercises. These are explosive movements that take advantage of the stretch-shortening cycle of the muscles, making your body generate maximum force in the shortest time possible. The result is a rare combination of power, strength, and endurance, all trained at the same time. Today you will discover 5 exercises capable of transforming your conditioning, plus 2 bonus movements that very few people know about. Exercise number 1, box jump. The box jump is probably the most iconic plyometric exercise in existence. Its popularity is tied to the training of sprinters and jumpers, athletes who needed to develop explosive lower body power without suffering the excessive impact of landing directly on the ground. Jumping onto a platform solved that problem and, as a bonus, became a symbol of power in gyms everywhere. The beauty of this exercise lies in its ability to teach the body to recruit the maximum number of muscle fibers in a fraction of a second. It intensely works the quadriceps, the gluteus maximus, and the entire posterior chain, while improving coordination and proprioception. Can you imagine the impact that kind of explosiveness would have on your performance in any other sport? Studies on plyometric training show that just a few weeks of practice are enough to measurably improve jump height and acceleration speed. The reason lies in what is called the stretch-shortening cycle. When you quickly flex before jumping, the muscles store energy like a stretched rubber band, and that energy is powerfully released on the way up. This is exactly the ability that separates a slow body from a truly explosive one. To perform it correctly, stand a short distance from a sturdy box. Slightly bend your knees and hips, swing your arms back and explode upward, driving your arms forward. Land with both feet at the same time, knees slightly bent to absorb the impact, and only then stand up fully. The detail that many people ignore is the soft landing. Landing on the box with a loud thud is a sign that you are absorbing the impact poorly, so aim to land lightly, like a cat. One mistake I see many people make is jumping aggressively back down from the box to the ground, which punishes the knees and tendons with no benefit whatsoever. The right approach is to step down in a controlled manner. Another classic mistake is choosing a box that is too high out of ego, increasing the risk of ugly stumbles. For beginners, I recommend starting with a box between 8 and 12 inches high and focusing entirely on the quality of the landing. As you progress, gradually increase the height or advance from 3 to 4 sets of 8 to 10 repetitions. Anyone with active injuries in the knees, ankles, or difficulty with balance should replace the jump with a controlled step-up until they recover the necessary stability. Exercise number 2, clapping push-up. The clapping push-up is proof that you can turn a common bodyweight exercise into something brutally explosive. It originated in the training of gymnasts, fighters, and military personnel, people who needed pushing strength applied with speed. It is the turbocharged version of the good old push-up, and it requires you to project your torso upward with enough force to lift your hands off the ground. This exercise intensely works the chest, the triceps, and the anterior deltoids, but the real differentiator is the explosive activation. Keep in mind that the upper chest is one of the hardest areas to develop, precisely because of the working angles and muscle insertion, and the explosive push of the clapping push-up helps recruit fibers that the traditional version often leaves behind. In addition, the landing trains the eccentric phase, which is frequently neglected, but accounts for a large portion of the potential for strength gain and hypertrophy. It is also worth highlighting the importance of scapular retraction throughout the entire movement, because keeping the shoulder blade stable protects the shoulders from repeated impact and better distributes the load across the chest. To perform it correctly, start in a push-up position with a tight core and your shoulder blades slightly retracted to protect your shoulders. Lower yourself in a controlled manner, and on the way up, push the ground as hard as you can, with enough force for your hands to leave the floor so you can clap once before catching yourself. The secret is not relaxing your body while in the air. A common mistake is letting your hips sag or catching yourself with fully extended and rigid arms, which transfers the impact directly to your wrists and elbows. Keep your body in a straight line and receive the ground with your elbows ready to bend. For those who do not yet have that strength, I recommend starting with explosive push-ups without the clap, simply pushing hard enough to lift your hands off the ground or performing the movement with your knees down. Progress from 2 to 3 sets of 5 to 8 well-executed repetitions. The important thing is to never trade quality for quantity, because a single poorly executed repetition is enough to overload the wrist. People with a history of wrist, elbow, or shoulder injuries should avoid this exercise until they have built a solid foundation of strength and stability. Exercise number 3, jump rope. It may look like a playground game, but jumping rope is one of the most complete and underrated plyometric exercises in existence. Boxers have used the rope for over a century as a foundation of their conditioning, and for good reason. Few movements deliver so much endurance, coordination, and lightness on your feet while requiring so little space and money. Each jump is a small plyometric stimulus for the calves, which deserves special attention here. The calf is considered the second heart of the body because it helps pump blood back up to the heart against gravity. Being a muscle predominantly made up of slow-twitch fibers, it responds very well to the high volume of repetitions that jumping rope naturally provides. Strong calves are also central to body balance, helping to prevent falls and stabilize every landing. Add to that the cardiovascular improvement, and you have an exercise that builds endurance and strong ankles at the same time. Regular practitioners can improve their conditioning impressively in just a few weeks, while also gaining a hand-foot coordination that carries over to virtually any other movement. To perform it correctly, keep your elbows close to your body and rotate the rope primarily using your wrists, not your entire arms. Jump only as high as needed for the rope to pass, landing lightly on the balls of your feet. The ideal image is of someone jumping over hot coals. Minimal ground contact. One mistake I see many people make is jumping too high and landing on their heels, which kills the rhythm and overloads the joints. Another is rotating the rope with the shoulders, which tires you out quickly and ruins your technique. Always think about quick, silent feet. For beginners, I recommend starting with short intervals, such as 30 seconds of jumping followed by 30 seconds of rest, and gradually progressing from 30 to 60 seconds per set. As your rhythm improves, you can vary your footwork, alternating between 2-foot jumps, single leg, alternating jumps, or small high knee runs in place, which keeps the exercise fun and challenging. People with serious joint problems in the knees or ankles, or with injuries that cannot tolerate repeated impact, should look for lower impact alternatives before adopting the jump rope. Exercise number 4, burpees. The burpee. Probably the exercise that the most people love to hate in the entire world. If exercises had reputations, the burpee would be that demanding teacher everyone complains about during exam season, but thanks years later. It combines a squat, a plank, a push-up, and a jump into one continuous movement, making it one of the most democratic and devastating exercises in existence, since it requires nothing more than your own body weight. What makes the burpee particularly valuable is the fact that it is both plyometric and metabolic at the same time. You develop power in the final jump while sending your heart rate through the roof, recruiting virtually every major muscle group. It is no surprise that high-intensity interval training protocols commonly use the burpee as their central exercise. Research on interval training shows that just a few minutes of this kind of effort can generate a caloric burn that extends for hours afterward, thanks to the metabolic boost the body experiences after the workout. To perform it correctly, squat down and place your hands on the floor, jump your feet back to reach a plank position. Perform the push-up if you want the full version, bring your feet back toward your hands and finish with an explosive jump, driving your arms overhead. The goal is to chain everything together in a fluid rhythm, as if each repetition were a wave that rises and falls without unnecessary pauses. A very common mistake is letting the hips sag during the plank portion, turning the movement into a series of sloppy positions that punish the lower back. Keep your core active from start to finish. Another mistake is going too fast and completely sacrificing technique in the name of speed. Speed without control does not build conditioning, it only increases the risk of injury. For beginners, I recommend removing the jump and the push-up at first, doing the simpler version, and progressing from 3 to 4 sets as conditioning improves. Another effective strategy is to keep the number of repetitions the same, while gradually reducing rest between sets, which increases intensity without requiring any new technique. People with heart conditions, uncontrolled high blood pressure, or injuries to the wrists and shoulders should exercise caution and seek guidance before adding burpees to their routine. Exercise number 5, tuck jump. The tuck jump is the more intense sibling of the standard vertical jump. It is widely used in the preparation of athletes in sports that demand repeated explosiveness, such as volleyball and basketball. The difference is that at the peak of the jump, you pull your knees toward your chest, which significantly increases the demand for power and core control. This exercise intensely works the quadriceps, the glutes, the calves, and the hip flexors, while also placing a high demand on the core muscles to coordinate the knee drive. Since it requires no equipment, it has become one of the favorite plyometric exercises for people who train at home and want to develop real explosiveness. The tuck jump is also excellent for training what is called reactive stiffness, which is the ability to touch the ground and spring back up almost instantly with minimal ground contact time. You will know you are doing it right when your landings start feeling lighter and more controlled, a sign that your proprioception is improving. To perform it correctly, start standing with your feet shoulder-width apart. Slightly bend your knees and jump powerfully, pulling your knees toward your chest at the highest point of the jump. Extend your legs in time to land with full foot contact and knees slightly bent, absorbing the impact like a good shock absorber. Try to land in exactly the same spot you jumped from, because drifting forward or sideways is a sign that you have lost control of the movement. The secret is to give the landing the same attention you give the jump. A common mistake is landing with stiff knees caving inward, which greatly increases the risk of injury. Another is arching the lower back when pulling the knees up. Keep your torso firm and your knees always aligned with your feet. For beginners, I recommend starting with simple vertical jumps without tucking the knees, and only progressing once your landing is solid. Then advance from 2 to 3 sets of 8 to 10 repetitions. Anyone with injuries to the knees, ankles, or lower back should avoid this high-impact movement until fully recovered. Now that you have mastered the 5 main exercises, here are 2 bonus movements that will take your training to an even higher level. Bonus exercise number 1, wall ball. The wall ball is one of those exercises that seems simple until you do 20 repetitions in a row. Born in the world of functional training and CrossFit, it combines a squat with an explosive throw of a medicine ball against a target on the wall. It is a full-body movement that shows no mercy to those who underestimate it. What makes the wall ball so valuable is the integration between the posterior chain and the upper body in a single explosive movement. On the way up from the squat, you transfer the force from your legs and glutes to your shoulders and arms, which launch the ball upward. You then catch the ball and immediately descend into the next squat. It is power, coordination, and cardiovascular endurance all in one shot. This continuous chaining trains the body to transfer force efficiently from the bottom up, something that has direct application in almost every sport and even in everyday tasks like lifting and pushing objects. Regular practitioners can achieve significant gains in overall conditioning with this exercise. To perform it correctly, hold the medicine ball close to your chest, squat while keeping your torso upright and your core tight. On the way up, use the drive from your legs to throw the ball toward a high point on the wall. Catch the ball by absorbing it with your arms and immediately transition into the next squat, maintaining a constant rhythm. A common mistake is trying to throw the ball using only the arms, ignoring the power of the legs, which fatigues the shoulders and ruins the movement. Remember that power is generated from the ground and travels up through the body. Another mistake is squatting too shallow just to speed up the repetitions, which drastically reduces the work done by the legs and glutes. There are also those who lose the rhythm when catching the ball, stopping between one repetition and the next, when the ideal is to let the ball coming down already initiate the next squat in a continuous flow. For beginners, I recommend a light ball weighing between 4 and 6 pounds and a lower target on the wall, progressing from 2 to 3 sets of 10 to 15 repetitions. A useful tip is to coordinate your breathing, forcefully exhaling at the moment of the throw, which helps stabilize the core and generate more power. People with shoulder, lower back, or knee injuries should adjust the load and range of motion, or seek guidance before getting started. Bonus exercise number 2, plyometric bear crawl. The plyometric bear crawl closes the list by proving that you can train your entire body by crawling like an animal. The traditional bear crawl is already an excellent core and stability exercise, and the plyometric version adds small explosive hops of the hands and feet, taking the coordination and power challenge to a whole new level. This exercise intensely works the core, the shoulders, the triceps, and the stabilizers of virtually the entire body. The main differentiator is the demand for proprioception and control. since you need to coordinate 4 points of contact in explosive motion without letting your hips rise too high or your lower back give way. It is the kind of movement that improves not just strength, but the way your body organizes itself in space. Another interesting point is that it develops shoulder and wrist strength in a very functional way, supporting your body weight at angles that traditional exercises rarely explore. When you include the bear crawl in your routine, you notice stability gains that carry over to almost every other exercise. To perform it correctly, get into the bear position, supported on your hands and the balls of your feet, knees a few inches from the ground, and hips at shoulder height. Make small explosive hops moving your hands and feet forward at the same time, keeping your core braced and your back flat throughout the entire distance. The movement should be rhythmic and low, almost skimming the ground, with each hop being short and controlled rather than long and uncoordinated. A common mistake is letting the hips rise too high, turning the exercise into something resembling a walking push-up, or letting the lower back sag. Keep your torso low and stable, as if you were balancing a glass of water on your back throughout the movement. For beginners, I recommend mastering the slow and controlled bear crawl before adding the hops, progressing from short distances to longer ones. Another way to advance is to reduce the rest time between sets, going from 60 to 45 seconds of rest as your conditioning improves. People with wrist or shoulder injuries or conditions that limit weight bearing on the hands should adapt or avoid this exercise. And anyone with high blood pressure should pay attention, since keeping the head low for extended periods can cause discomfort. These 7 plyometric exercises form a powerful arsenal for anyone looking to develop strength and endurance at the same time. The secret, as with almost everything in training, lies in consistency and quality of execution, not in doing everything at once on the very first day. If you enjoyed this and also want to discover 5 brutal exercises that burn far more fat than a treadmill, we have a video appearing on screen right now showing each one in detail. Make sure to check it out. Thank you for watching, and may God bless you, my friend.